Pinterest is your worst enemy. There's just like so many ideas on there.
For the general person who's just started wedding planning, they got all this bunch of images, it just kind of confuses them.
Outdoor weddings are a gamble. We had set up the beautiful outdoor wedding. When the bride was about to walk down the aisle, it just poured.
Carpet, walls, interior, doesn't matter.
You could do as much decoration as you like, but if the bones of the place doesn't match the vibe that you're going for, it doesn't work.
A lot of venues tend to be a little bit lazy.
They stick to preferred suppliers they've had on there for like 10 years, but it doesn't mean that it's specifically good for you.
I'm John.
I'm Caroline.
And this is Events by Design.
After styling hundreds of events across Australia, we've learned firsthand what truly makes an event unforgettable.
To us, an event is a debut, a moment where your vision, your energy, and your style is introduced to the world.
We're here to help you design moments that don't just impress, they connect, move, and leave a mark.
Let's design something iconic together. Welcome everybody. Today we're excited. We're going to dive into the brutal truths of wedding styling that no one tells you about.
All right, so first up, Pinterest is your worst enemy. People love scrolling on Pinterest, but the more you scroll, the more overwhelmed you actually get because there's just like so many ideas on there. And then, so you're like, oh, I like this and this, but what about this color? What about that color? And it just creates like, mind-boggling.
So what do you suggest, Caroline?
What we do with our couples when we work with them is we go, okay, send us all your Pinterest boards and any Instagram pins that you have. And what we do, we scroll through them, but we see right away what the pattern is and what they like and what they don't like. And then from there, we create a mood board and that pieces together all the stuff that they do love. So we get a full vision. And then you could even do multiple variations of the mood board. So we're like, oh, we see like two different types of patterns that you like. One that's like, green and white and green are really romantic, but one is very like, luxurious, and another one where it's a bit more modern and simple or whatnot. So we might create 3 different mood boards.
Got you.
So even in the same color scheme, there could be different looks that they've chosen throughout the Pinterest board.
So for the general person who's just started wedding planning, they got all this bunch of images, it just kind of confuses them. Is that right?
That's right. Having a stylist does help narrow it down. And from there, we get to see the full vision of they like and also the color ratio. So for example, if you wanted like white and greenery, how much percentage of white do you want? Or how much percentage of green do you want? So we create like those mood boards with like different variations of colors. And from there, they choose what they like the most and we work from there.
Fantastic. That also goes down to ideas as well, right? Like having too many ideas, sometimes you kind of get back and forth of which one you actually want. They're kind of coinciding in a sense.
For example, like when you look at separate items, like a centerpiece, I really like this centerpiece. Right. But then like, I don't know, bridal backdrop. Oh, I like this look of the bridal backdrop. But then together, they don't work very well. So the main thing when you have too many ideas is, again, going back to that mood board and say, this is the vibe that we're going for.
Yeah.
Does it match this mood board? Does it work within that? And if it does work well within that whole look, then we're like, okay, good, go for it. And if not, then we probably say, it's a great idea, but maybe we'll save it for something else.
This reminds me of a scenario where we had like the couple, the husband and the wife, they kind of had one different looks. He wanted a bit more structured and she wanted a bit more kind of semi-colorful.
Yeah.
And I remember, we were able to kind of, fix that with a solution that kind of matched both their ideals and create the wedding of the dreams, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I think that way we're able to blend ideas together really well. So it might be like the guy's color scheme, but then it'll be like the girl's sort of like mood and ambience and sort of like the feel of the space. So when we match that really well, like they're like, oh, this is perfect.
So it'll be like a perfect combination of both ones.
Outdoor weddings are a gamble. Big time gamble.
Especially in Melbourne, right?
Yep, definitely in Melbourne.
Oh my goodness.
Because we all know Melbourne has 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we stress more than the bride and the groom. Right?
Definitely. So I know everyone loves an outdoor wedding. They look so good in the sunlight with all the trees and grass and everything. But the weather in Melbourne is so unpredictable. Like, I mean, if you were having it here in Gold Coast or in the sunshine or whatnot, then really good weather, then you could pull it off. But with Melbourne, it's unpredictable. Like we had a wedding once at Werribee Mansion where we had set up the beautiful outdoor wedding for the bride and groom. It did forecast that it was going to rain that day, but
They were
day
willing to take the gamble.
they were,
for it, yeah.
were willing to do it. But when we were setting up, it was actually really nice,
Yes.
wasn't it? It was
Yes.
like gorgeous. And then out of nowhere, like when the bride was about to walk down the aisle, it just
Absolutely drenched.
poured, drenched.
Yeah.
And then like we had to sort of like move the arches that had draping.
The whole thing had to be moved
The whole thing had to
halfway through the
move
ceremony.
halfway through the
Yeah.
ceremony
Yeah.
and like moved indoor. But then it was like the drapes were like dripping with
Yeah.
water and stuff like that. And we're just like,
wasn't a very good
goodness.
sight. I remember
Yeah.
that, but not for a very
Yeah.
good reason. Hey, just quickly,
If you're looking for a wedding stylist so that you can have a stress-free, seamless and premium wedding design all completely done for you,
visit the link in the show notes to book your creative consultation.
let's bring your wedding vision to life.
Now back to the episode.
So what we do recommend is if you do have an outdoor wedding and you really want one, it's great. But just make sure there's a backup scenario. So if there's a tent or like an indoor area.
A kind of seamless one that's kind of not too far away, even it'll probably be the best scenario, and even make the call an hour before potentially.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You still have time. Your guests are still on site, and it could easily be redirected.
Yeah. But
But
either
in
way.
Melbourne,
Yeah.
yes or no?
I would recommend indoor weddings.
Yeah.
But if you want to take the chance of it, we can still make it look beautiful,
Absolutely.
but just make sure there's a backup plan.
When it
Yeah.
does, when it's perfect, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But for the peace of mind, I probably steer to an indoor wedding.
Yeah.
Now the venues, the carpet, walls, interior, does it matter?
It sure does. Definitely
Why does it matter?
Because you could do as much decoration as you like, but if the bones of the place doesn't match the vibe that you're going for, then it's just a no-go.
Right.
Yeah.
And also in terms of styling, the interior does really affect how much you got to do to it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, if you chose a venue that was very rustic, like it had timber everywhere from floor, walls, tiles, whatever, and then the theme that you wanted to go for is like gloss, luxury, like modern.
Yeah.
Then that just, it doesn't work right away. So
Right.
it's sort of like you have to choose a venue that matches with your look.
Well, in most part, and then our job is to come in and kind of mesh it so that it kind of blends into the way
Yeah.
it's meant to be, right? So we
Yeah.
could still do like an elegant vibe in a kind of rustic feel,
Yeah.
but it could be a combination of both.
Yes, that's right.
And that's how we could kind of make it work if the client really, really wanted that venue.
Yeah. But another thing with the venue, like the theme might work, but also be careful of the color.
Right.
Like, for example,
Why is that?
there are some venues where we walk in and the carpet is just like, what do you call it? Like, it was like an army
Camo,
pattern?
camo. I remember that one, yes.
Camo. But it was like blue and green and aqua and yellow. And I was just like, why on earth would the venue choose this carpet? Like, nothing can go with it.
Yeah.
And then the couple was like, oh, yeah, but I want like a red color scheme. I'm just
Yeah.
like,
It's tricky sometimes,
it's very
right?
tricky
Yeah.
for us to
but
make
I remember
it
that one.
work.
What we did
Yeah.
was how we overcame that one was just kind of dim the lights
Yeah.
and kind of highlighted the parts that were meant to be seen.
with like pin spot lighting.
spot lighting,
Yeah,
right,
on
yeah.
the tables and stuff like that. And we did talk to clients into changing the color theme, so we ended up doing more blue and whites. So that sort of complemented the carpet a little bit more. So all in all, it still looked really good. But like I'm just saying, if you were like set on like a red theme, or if you were set on a Pacific theme and your venue was a different color, I would definitely suggest like finding a venue that matches with your color theme.
Absolutely. Venues recommend a supplier list. So this is one I personally
Passionate
hate.
about.
My point of view is a lot of venues tend to
Stick to
be a little bit lazy.
So they stick to preferred suppliers list that they've had on there for like 10 years. And so basically they choose these suppliers based on convenience and
Absolutely.
familiarity.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't mean that it's specifically good for you or that it matches what you want.
There are dozens of venues out there that I've seen that could easily be, a lot of venues want to be popular and the next hot thing. And they could easily have done it if they brought in a stylist that tried something new and different.
Yeah.
Not only would that have improve the couple's experience, but also the exposure of that venue itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, the good thing about it is that there's lots of social media these days. So the couples have seen other people's work online. Like one of our couples, they're like, oh, we really like this venue, but have you guys worked there before? We're like, no, we haven't even heard of that venue. And then they're like, oh, but we've been following your work for ages. And then they're like, oh, but apparently the venue only likes these specific suppliers. Are you
Yes.
guys like able to get in? I'm like, I'm pretty sure we've done weddings all over Australia, and all the venues
But it's-
absolutely love us. So it's sort of like if the venue hasn't seen us before, then obviously they don't know of us. So it's sort of like really great that couples are able to choose the stylist for themselves or any other vendor for that matter. And then when they come in, then we do amazing work. Then the venue is like, oh my God, you guys are so good. Could you come back all the time?
Yeah.
So like, what I'm saying is that you don't have to stick to the suppliers list that the venue has given you, and it's good to source your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my advice to venues, if you're listening, try different stylists, see their work, and it may be a benefit for you, you know what I mean? And not only yourself, but your couple.
Because it definitely elevates the venue. And then once they have those photos to be able
becomes
to
a trend.
promote
Yeah.
and everything like that, and everyone's like, oh, that's the next hottest venue type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so that was 5 brutal truths about wedding styling today. I hope you enjoyed it. There will be lots more to come. If you want to hear more, let us know and put it in the comments below. But we have touched on Pinterest, having too many ideas, outdoor weddings, choosing your right venue for you, and also looking at the vendors list.
Absolutely.
And being able to source it for yourself. So
How
hope
good are those points?
Hopefully those tips are very helpful to you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on Events by Design. We hope today's episode inspired you and gave you a fresh perspective on the power of thoughtful styling.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss an episode.
Ready to start designing your own unforgettable moment? Head to JCAU Events _official or visit JCAU Events to connect with our team.
Until next time, design with purpose, create with heart.